Usually all hell breaks loose in the next one.
And they all learned as we get to one to go right here. They all learned what happened in the first heat race, and you talk about that leader and saying, if I'm leading, I'm going to stay out. I'm pretty sure that the whole field probably will pit behind him based upon everything that happened in the first one. Maybe some guys in the back might take a chance, but they're just kind of going to be in the way until the guys on tires get around them.
And most everybody was here for the Cars late model race last night, so if you wanted to see some carnage, they had some. They also had some great racing.
Yeah, and this racetrack is producing great racing right now, so it's fun to watch.
Here's Joey Logano's radio.
Hi, boys. Let's see what we got here. Try to keep ourselves to the front. Make sure we're in a good spot for tomorrow night.
75 laps, competition caution around lap 30. Every lap counts. Christopher Bell, Chase Briscoe, Bell, the pole sitter from the outside of row number 1, takes the green flag.
Yeah, much like we saw in that first race, that outside line gets a great launch into turn 1. 19 car Briscoe gets good drive through the center of the corner and able to protect that second position.
Remember, the 8 and 99 are on scuffed tires. Everybody else starts on stickers.
We saw this to start the first heat race. We'll see some cars that filling themselves out, sliding around on the racetrack, trying to figure out exactly where the grip level is and how the balance of their car is. But as we get 2 or 3 laps into this big slide by Suarez.
Well, that logjam is right at Kyle Busch and behind him. With Chris Buescher and Austin Cindric. They were going at it right from the green flag. You'll see in the lower right.
Whoa, very close. It's Burton and Elliott there at the back of the pack. This is why this team sport aspect of this is so important. Look at the track position that these Gibbs cars have, all because of their crew's effort last night in qualifying.
Denny Hamlin underneath Joey Logano for 3rd. And Logano squirts on the high side off turn 2.
Cannot let those guys get to your outside, Kevin.
No, that momentum, and especially in turn 1 and 2, if they carry that momentum through the center of the corner and are able to get that car rotated and get back to the throttle, they're going to drive right by you, just like we saw Joey Logano do right there to Denny Hamlin.
Mike, you see right there, Denny Hamlin running down on the bottom of the racetrack that last time through 3 and 4. Just came onto the radio to Chris Gall and told him, Plow City, folks. I don't know where Plow City is, but I know that's not good. It means the car's way too tight right now.
I think it's a suburb of West Jefferson. But yeah, I understand what he means.
Well, it's a place you don't want to be. That's what I can tell you. When that thing is plowing and won't turn, won't go in the middle, which is exactly what you're seeing, and they're going by him on the outside, the inside, pretty much at will, Kevin.
Yeah, and when you're tight in these momentum-tight situations where you have to run that top groove down in 1 and 2, it just makes you have to slow the car down more, and that mid-corner speed and not being able to get the car rotated just loses all the lap time.
Kyle Busch runs away from Hamlin, who now has a mirror full of Austin Cindric. Cindric looking inside. He's there.
Watching Buescher in 4th place here, biggest mover so far, up 4 positions, started 8th. The car's really handling well, those RFK cars. Brad winning the first one, this one matching that pace quite well.
Yeah, and you know, you heard him talk about his car not being quite as good as Brad's yesterday, so I'm sure after practice they looked at everything that they could to take from Brad's car to try in this heat race. That's the other opportunity that this heat race gives you, is the opportunity to try some different things in your car to be able to make it better for tomorrow night's race.
Man, I cannot believe Plow City is not good at all. This Denny Hamlin is in bad trouble. Started up front all the way to the back. What, 10 laps it all it took him to get there.
Remember, Chase Elliott started in the back because they had to change that rear towing. He's advanced a couple of positions.
We've seen wild things happen in these all-star races, but you can see the point in that car. It will not whatsoever. That thing's headed north in the center of the corner, and that is not good.
Our Kyle Busch is settled in the 5th. Here's his radio.
That was your fastest lap of the race right there. That was your lowest 3 and 4. The fastest lap by about half. The only one fast for you was the leader. Lose the fire here. Loose off and accelerate from the top. And 3 rear steer all the way above. It's roasting in right now also.
Yeah, when he's talking about that right rear steer, he's talking about that right rear tire wanting to wrap around too much and wanting to turn too much off the quarter and under throttle. Kyle ran the truck race, so he knows where the groove has been on the racetrack. See him up the racetrack there in 1 and 2. We documented his car a lot yesterday with the way that the left rear tire looked.
He's using it all, the exit too, that's for sure.
Denny Hamlin has faded all the way to the back. That's Harrison Burton going by on the, or trying to get by on the inside. Driving for Rick Ware, the 51.
Yeah, Harrison there in the 51 car. He's been driving in the Xfinity Series, not been in these Cup cars all year. So tough transition to get back in sync.
I remember watching Denny sliding around yesterday on this racetrack, and I can't help but think they've made a pretty significant change in this thing. I mean, you got both of his teammates running 1, 2, and that thing marched straight to the back. So obviously quite a bit different setup than the teammates get.
And a lot of times when you have those types of handling conditions in practice, it's not hard to reach too far back the other way and jump on the other side of the fence. So luckily for them, they have done that in the heat race and not in tomorrow night's race.
And we have a caution coming, so you will be able to work on a very big stat coming with this 11 car.
We also have that wake-up caution coming in the All-Star race, the promoter's option caution, anytime before lap 220. Some of the drivers have been outspoken about that. I think Kyle Busch even saying on social media, he said, if I need a caution, I know how to get one. So that's going to be interesting. Jamie.
Yeah, Kevin, you were talking about Chris Buescher, and I talked to him earlier before we were on camera together, and he said, I feel like my car yesterday had real good stability in and off the corner. This is a test race for us, so let's try something new, see if we can make it a little bit better. Obviously, Bruce in this race because he won at Watkins Glen last year. So far, so good, though. He's moved up a few spots since the drop of the green flag.
Currently 4th. 4 seconds back of the leader. Christopher Bell has taken off from Chase Briscoe by about 1.5 seconds.
Well, this race has a lot different look to it than that first race did. It's definitely a little bit more spread out. You see Christopher Bell, he's just driven off from everybody as Chase Elliott goes to the inside of the 99 of Daniel Suarez.
This has been a steady march toward the front from Elliott after having to start in the rear. Loose off, having to correct and a little close for comfort there.
He got a little loose off because the 9 car was driving across the front of his nose, and he had to lift right there, take evasive action not to get in the back bumper.
All right, just about 5 laps to the competition caution for heat number 2.
Did you see that car take off when he got in the wake of Elliott? Almost hit the wall.
Yeah, even though we're on a short track right here, and on these short tracks, these cars are actually probably more aero-sensitive than they are, or just as much on the big tracks. So when that happens on these short tracks, it actually makes it worse because of the amount of speed and the short lap time. So definitely still an aero effect on these types of racetracks.
For a while, Joey Logano was making some inroads on Chase Briscoe, 2nd to 3rd. But now they seem to have pretty much equalized lap times right here as we approach the competition caution.
Well, this 20 car is going to have a tough decision as they come to pit road and this caution comes out. We still see almost a 1/2 second of fall off, and we saw how those sticker tires fired off in that first race. So if everybody behind him comes to pit road and he doesn't, I believe he'll have his hands full, even though he's got a great car.
And unlike the last race, Bell is fighting for his starting position. He is not guaranteed the front row as Keselowski was, who was the fastest qualifier last night. So
I think if I'm them, I'll pit. I think I want those tires. Because this is a predicament that we've seen so many times of how you can stack the deck against somebody dominating the race. They're in a situation with this caution coming out. If they stay out, everybody's going to pit behind them, and you're not going to be able to have that affordability of those 4 cars insurance that we saw in that first heat. If they do pit, probably they're all going to stay out, and you're going to be burnt. This is a tough situation to be in when you're this dominant.
however, the cars right behind him are going to have to put on scuff tires. They're not going to get stickers. They started on stickers, as Bell did.
I think these cars, you need...
Well, I think we need to reconfirm who's got sticker tires and who doesn't, because I see the 9 cars got sticker tires sitting on the wall right here, getting ready to put them on. So it'll be interesting to see who's got what down there.
Well, those are scuffs right there.
Those are scuffs, and now we're going to find out. We're going to find out, is it cool tires or is it sticker tires? I always wanted cool sticker tires. Larry?
Yeah, here's the 3 drivers that have sticker tires in their pits. Chase Elliott, the 9, Kyle Busch, the 8, Daniel Suarez, the 99. They have stickers to put on.
Gotcha. Yeah, so Chase Elliott, we add to that list of the sticker tires. So I'm really interested to see, is it the coolness of the tire or is it the sticker tire?
Larry, your driver's Bell. What are you going to do here?
I think I'm going to pit. I don't want to lose this race because everybody else changed 4 tires. I think I'm coming to get me 4.
I didn't think that, and I started listening to Kevin talk me down the path of everybody's going to pit behind me, and I haven't jumped on board with it.
I want to stay out and let them chase me.
Well, what if you don't get chased very long?
Note is open.
Yeah, it really all depends. I mean, if 3 or 4 of them stay out, that's going to be your buffer to defend yourself against the fresher tires.
Because the first car that could put on sticker tires is right now 5th.
All right, you guys, you're just like Earnhardt. You want 4 tires and track position. I can't give you both.
Yeah, that's what I want, Larry. Give it to me.
Chase, I think he's coming.
That answers
Everybody
that.
is. 19 stayed out.
Briscoe, now there's a surprise. Chase Briscoe stays out. Everybody else headed for their pit stall.
Lonely acres out there. Lonely acres.
Jamie.
Chase Elliott gained 3 spots there in that run, but I talked in the opening report that he had sticker tires. Look at the rear changer, Calvin T. That is a change starting this week. It's been a long time since we've seen a change to Chase Elliott's pit crew, and it starts this weekend, Reagan.
Austin Cindric struggling a little bit. Lou's tried something different than we've seen. 2 tires on the right side of the 2 car, so that'll be something that we'll keep an eye out for. Again, it was a loose car for Austin.
Christopher Bell wins that race off pit road, but look how close this is at the end of the stop. Running around the front of the car, that crewman came very close to getting hit. All right, 41 laps to go. Christopher Bell has led everyone so far.
Is to go, and your job is to get out of the way, so that was great timing.
So Larry, Bell and Cindric took 2 tires, but Chase Briscoe is the only car that stayed out.
Yeah, I got James Small. What led you to make the decision to stay out, James?
We just thought we wanted to do the opposite. You know, we talked about it, we could get the lead, and we knew some of the other guys might do right sides and might give us a little bit of a buffer. So we'll see how it goes. You know, just got to hold it in for 10, 15 laps and maybe we'll be okay. So track time's coming down and that car seems pretty good. So
Seems to follow the theory, follow the leader, you just follow the leader.
All right, so Briscoe has worn tires, Larry. Bell has 2, Cindric has 2. Logano and Buescher are on scuff tires. Elliott, Busch and Suarez are on sticker tires. Hamlin and Burton are on scuff tires. You got all combinations here.
We're getting ready to learn a lot, but it's all going to start right here as they fire off out of the box, and Briscoe gets a great start.
Briscoe's going to have to be careful. Never mind. Answer has been made right there. Briscoe needs to go. Can't get mired back in traffic. Cedric leaning on him, moving him up the racetrack. Here comes Logano on the inside. Now we're racing.
Whole lot of 3 wide here. Busch are getting jostled around in the middle.
Yeah, and you see those 4 tires on that 9 car down there on the bottom of the racetrack. Like we documented, there's only 3 cars that had sticker tires, and he's the first one of them.
Not good for Chase Briscoe. I said, if you come off a 2, not in the lead, now you turn around.
He gets turned.
Did a great job keeping it out of the wall. I think we put him on now.
Yeah, I'd go ahead and put him on.
First caution flag for cause in tonight's heat races.
And that's the risk that you run when you race on defense. You know, you lose the lead and then you get the pack and you're banking on that track position to keep yourself up in the front. He lost it immediately on the restart because of those hot used tires. And when we saw that video of Christopher Bell's tire changer, you could see the buildup on those tires. And they just don't fire off like sticker tires.
I can't even tell who turned him. He had contact from everybody.
Well, never works out very good in your favor in a short track, 3 wide on the outside.
Wow. 99 car right there just got into the left rear quarter panel. He was already passed by the 2 cars below him, and Suarez just had so much more speed. It looked like he might have been trying to get down, and Suarez was already there.
Hamlin just escaped on the inside there.
Hey, it's the all-star race, no points on the line. James Smalls, he made a gamble there. Went for it, tried it. No harm, no foul. Didn't tear the race car up, luckily. We'll put these tires on and go at it again.
Now the tires they have sitting in the pits are scuffs.
I think a lot of the difference is the heat. And we heard Ross Chastain talk about the heat in the tires if he ran those tires too hard on the bottom of the racetrack. So cool tires, no matter what, are going to be better than the hot tires that he had on there. But you also got to keep them clean. We see a lot of marks down the back straightaway where they spin those rear tires to get them up to temperature, but more so to get them clean.
Yeah, I think they're temperature sensitive, not necessarily wearing out what we're seeing. I think as soon as they build that temperature, they go away in a hurry.
So the first car on new tires is Chase Elliott in 3rd, then Kyle Busch in 5th, and then Suarez in back.
Yeah, and those new tires matter. We look at the 9 car. He fired right off there on those sticker tires and was able to make the most progress of anyone all night. Jamie?
Blake Houston is the front changer for Christopher Bell. Blake, that was oh so close. I know you guys train all the time. Do you train for timing like that?
Yeah, drill cut it a little close, but yeah, we practice that quite often, and he was trying to get me killed, I think.
You saying Darrell Edwards, the jack man?
Yeah, he cut it a little close, but I made it, barely. My wife's gonna kill me for it, but it's all right.
Good job, well done.
Well, I would, in the Jackman's defense, he wasn't even looking at him, so I don't know that it was definitely on the front of his mind as to where he was, so.
They made up. Good fun. All's well. But that was close. Because the driver, he was leaving.
Yes, he was.
He trusted that guy was going to get around there. And that guy's practiced that plenty of times getting around there too. Don't think he has it.
Yeah, that car is taking off while he's got his left hand on the hood, and usually when those tire changers know that you're going to do 2 tires, usually they run with you as you're taking off, away from you.
Oh, gosh. Not only is his wife going to be upset, they're on baby watch for their 3rd child, so.
Well, hopefully.
That had to raise the heart rate a bit. All right, let's restart.
It's not as good a jump as we've seen from the inside car with Logano. But Chase Elliott.
Don't forget, Christopher Bell on 2 tires. We know that he had the fastest car at the beginning of the race. But those 2 tires, we'll see how they run as this run continues on here.
Chase Elliott's doing, keeping that car as high on the racetrack as possible so he doesn't burn up those tires until he gets a chance to make a move. How about this 3 wide? Now Kyle Busch is on new tires too.
You can see the advantage. Wasn't clear though. There was Buescher on the outside.
And like we saw in the first race, you have to take advantage of it while you have that advantage on your side, because once these tires start to get hot, that advantage becomes less and less.
Denny Hamlin coming too. He just got away from the 2 cars inside him that were 3 wide. And was gaining ground on that battle.
Justman did that car well. You see it's still really tight through the center though. As soon as he let off the brakes, that thing headed right up the racetrack.
Danny Suarez also on new tires, as opposed to the scuffs everyone else put on.
Starting to think about this promoter's choice caution and everything that's going to unfold tomorrow night. That's going to play a role in this.
And the biggest role is when you get those new tire, old tire, hot tire mix on the restarts, and getting that track position, being able to maneuver and not be on defense. And that's really where Chase Elliott made the most ground, as you see Denny Hamlin continue to struggle with that car. Once they get spread out, it takes a lot more time to finish those passes. And you see Elliott there in the 9 car behind Logano, both of them pitted for 4 tires, but 1 scuff, 1 sticker. And after we got through the first lap and a half, 2 laps, the 9 car is now just one of the other cars on the racetrack, and that advantage is gone.
Those front 2 cars are in the 60s. He's a 90 with a 70 behind him in Busch.
Christopher Bell, he's still able to run about a 10th faster than everybody on the racetrack, half a tenth to a 10th faster every lap. So those 2 tires have definitely not slowed his car down with the track position of leading the race.
And his line has hardly changed at all. He enters turn 1 in about the 2nd groove, works up to the 3rd groove in the middle of 1 and 2 and comes off. Gets the car lower entering turn 3 and around turn 4, wraps it lower on the racetrack at the high end of the speedway.
I'm glad you said that. And as I look down there in the 3 and 4 and watching these cars go around the racetrack, they're all pretty much back down on the bottom. And that's been a corner throughout the last couple days that they've been playing around with that, whether they run to the top, diamond it back down, around the bottom. Seems like they find the speed. The fastest laps come from running the bottom.
And we heard James Small talk about the track temperature. You see the shadows on the front straightaway, you know, the sun is going down, the temperature is going down, and in my opinion, the lap times of the cars have been a little bit faster towards the end of this race, and the fall-off has been a little bit less than what we saw in the first heat with sun all the way around the racetrack.
Yeah, turn 4 has been in shade for almost an hour now. That has to have an effect.
On board with Christopher Bell right here, downhill into turn 1. You hear him lift about that caution light there into turn 1, up the hill, just barely touch that upper banking right there to get the car to rotate. Uphill into turn 3, he's choosing to run above that patch right there into that 2nd lane of banking. That patch into turn 3 has a lot of rubber caked up on it, so it's almost become slick. When we got here, they didn't scrape the rubber off the racetrack on that patch, so the rubber was actually really, really hard. You'll see it right here to the left, right there. You can see those patches of rubber built up on that. They just left them there.
And over the years, those patches have been different. Sometimes they're slick, and sometimes it's a grip strip.
One thing we don't see here at Wilkesboro, though, is shifting. And a lot of racetracks, even the short tracks, you'll see the driver shifting between 2 gears depending on where the grip is at either end of the racetrack.
Very odd to see any racetrack with these Gen 7 cars not shifting. I agree with you. It's a good point, Mike.
And the other thing that we heard, these cars were running in 4th gear here. We heard them a lot last night. We could tell who was having a good qualifying lap and who wasn't. And I think tomorrow night when it's cool, I think you'll hear a lot of these cars start hitting the rev limiter into turn 1 as the lap times pick up. Bell's able to run, I would say, about a lane lower than everybody else compared to the first heat in turns 1 and 2, and be able to get his car to rotate.
Meanwhile, Joey Logano sees Chase Elliott growing a little larger in his rearview mirror.
And you see Logano's even moved down the racetrack, and a lot of times that will happen as the top of the racetrack starts to get really rubbed up. You start looking for different areas on the racetrack that will have a little bit cleaner asphalt, don't have as much rubber buildup. So Logano, he's moved his line down to a lot like what Christopher Bell is doing, maybe even a touch lower through turns 1 and 2.
Elliott a 10th quicker that last lap and really dives it into turn 3 and cuts that gap in half.
Yeah, you see him make that ground up on entry, but give it up on the center part of the corner to the exit. But as you watch Chase go in the corner right here this time, right next to that white line is concrete, and if you just grab that white line and try to cover that white line on entry and just barely touch that concrete, it'll help that car rotate just a little bit.
Remember, every position gained moves you up 1 row in the starting lineup tomorrow night for the All-Star race. Everybody on track is guaranteed in, and they will fill the outside lane on the starting grid.
Watching his in-car. What do you see there, Kevin?
You see him pretty steady on the entry to the corner, but you see him through the middle of the corner, not much direction back to the right through the center. So that tells me that his car, like you're saying, is probably a little bit too tight through the center of the corner.
Yeah, see that right in the middle of the corner, the apex, that thing kind of goes to a dead lock. Doesn't it saw on it any right? I got loose in right there. Watch when he gets down to the center at 1 and 2 and starts leaning on the wheel, trying to get his car to rotate the turn. Right there. Takes a lot of wheel, not any kind of sawing on it. Pretty tight race car.
Four to go, it's time for Christopher Bell. And he remains the quickest car on the racetrack by a couple of hundredths over Logano.
And he's changed his line a little bit, Mike. Now we've seen him up the racetrack, all 4 tires in that upper lane, down here in turns 1 and 2 where he's headed. He's got a big enough lead now that he can start to move around the racetrack and really fill out different areas and what it does to his car to start to gather more feedback for tomorrow night.
2 to go, and the one spot that is in contention might be Chase Briscoe, as Austin Cindric drawing a bead on him for 7th place. Otherwise, we're pretty well sorted out all the way around the racetrack here. Bell with a lead of 1.7 seconds. Gets the white flag this time. He is 1.8 seconds up on Joey Logano, who remains half a second in front of Chase Elliott.
Yeah, and he's pretty much smoked him in this heat race, Mike. He's put on a clinic.
So a mixed race for Joe Gibbs Racing. Christopher Bell gets the checkered flag, 2 seconds ahead of Joey Logano. Elliott 3rd, Kyle Busch 4th. Chris Buescher, Daniel Suarez, then Chase Briscoe holds off Cindric by a
Good job,
car.
Bell. Great job, Bell. We'll debrief at the truck.